Hello, I'm Mr. Pleasant Books. For this book talk, we'll be discussing the first book in the Broketail series, Bazil Broketail. This is the story of a battle dragon and his boy who are basically bred from birth to fight against the evil in the north. It's an evil that actually took over an entire continent, pushed the people back onto just their islands until they were able to gather up enough strength, build up enough allies, like with the battle dragons, and push their way back onto the continent to begin fighting the evil, which is trolls, goblins, imps, uh, humans who decided to side with the evil. And the main character of the evil that they're fighting is the Blunt Doom. But yeah, it's just a story of how Relkin and Bazil are beginning that life of being in the frontier, being in the front lines of the legions for Argonath. Just so you know, from here forward, there will be spoilers. Just letting you know. All right, bye. Okay, so Bazil Broketail. I loved actually the concept of the battle dragons because they are like heavy infantry. They're big. When it comes up to the imps, they just slice through them. They can still be taken down by the imps, but they're so powerful and big that if really they're not fighting trolls, their main purpose, the whole reason the battle dragons joined and the humans wanted the battle dragons to join was to fight the trolls, then really it's a one-sided fight. If if you got dragons on your side, unless the enemy is hugely outnumbering you, you're gonna wipe the floor with them. And you see that because the with Relkin, he's 15, but he's trained, and so he keeps the imps and the people away from the battle dragon's legs. The most dangerous part in the fight when they're going against people much smaller than them. So the fight scenes, like Christopher Rowley, he did very well in the fight scenes, the battle scenes. It makes you laugh in certain parts just because the real soldiers' comments and ideas. The dragons are intelligent, they're clever, they're not just dumb beasts, and they don't just speak telepathically, they actually open their mouths to talk. The whole reason that Bazil and Relkin are doing this is so that they can get farmland. Each of them will, if 10 years of service, will get 80 acres of farmland that they can work and they can use and they can grow. And Relkin, he wants to get a wife and he wants to get as much money and saving as he can so that he can make a big family, own more land so that he and Bazil can retire, because Bazil is going to live about as long as he does, which is another thing I really liked. It's not, these dragons don't last for hundreds or thousands of years. It's they're paired up with someone and that's who they're with, and unless they die in battle. and just and just all of the characters that he put in here, like Lysis and the captain and Magdalene, the girl that Relkin likes at first, and the Tomcat and Thrembode, the magician, the bad guy, the Blunt Doom, which is just the giant rock that has a spirit in it, and controls the eyes, the mouth, and the ears. Those people in cages. Just the whole world that he builds in this one book, and then as the series continues, is just incredible. And I've read the entire series, and this is still one of my favorite books. You can see how much I've read it. It's definitely got some use to it because it's just that good of a book. I like it that much. I always enjoy it when they get into a bit of the history. I don't want them to go too deep into the histories because after all, that would take up so much of the book. But it's always interesting when they do go into the histories and explain why these people are so feared, why they're fighting so hard, why they're willing to put themselves on the line to stop this evil or this bad. And it's not just some nameless terror, but it's actual people and beings who are there that can be killed, can be fought. They have immense power, but they can be stopped. And it's just amazing, like how Bazil takes out the Blunt Doom by cutting it out of its nest until it falls and just shatters, which makes everyone run in terror, but allows Relkin and Bazil to become heroes, to be recognized as heroes, and for the rest of the series, just how important they are to this world, to the Argonath and his peoples and the players that are in it. And the captain, and I didn't honestly get why the soldiers were so against following orders. And yeah, their numbers were hurt, and yeah, their numbers were going down, but real soldiers wouldn't just give up that easy. And that part I didn't like, just how quickly the soldiers were always willing to give up or mutiny, or just refuse to listen to their leadership. And especially the sergeant. And that's the sergeant. They're the core, the backbone of any army is the sergeants. And this sergeant was just so willing to give up, so willing, like, oh, he's under a spell, so I don't want to listen to him, and without thinking about the witch didn't do anything. That she just showed up. She saved them first off. She led them multiple times to where the enemies were. She introduced them to the elves and stopped the elves from killing them. She did all of these things, and yet he's just constantly wanting to mutiny and to fight. And I never really got that one. Because it didn't make sense to my mind with the sergeants I've known and the sergeants I've seen. They wouldn't have just stopped. They wouldn't have just said, it's not worth it. They would have still kept going. Even if it was, like they always thought, to their death, the sergeants would have kept going, because the sergeants I knew know what needs to be done and know how important it is for them to accomplish their goals and fulfill the mission. Whatever the mission is, no matter how hard it is, fulfill the mission. And so I didn't particularly like that part, but to leave it on the high note, when the Bazil, he's humorous, he's funny, when they're going into the first fight against the imps and the trolls, the dragons are all arguing and talking about eating the trolls afterwards, just what they're going to taste like, and and they're trying to decide what they're gonna do, whether it's fry them, boil them, or just eat them raw. And when the commander, or when the captain and the sergeant hear that, they start laughing, and it makes the soldiers feel better, because if the leadership's laughing, it can't be that bad. But it's because the dragons are just being what dragons are. Everything is prey, and the trolls are no exception. But yes, I would recommend it. I would definitely say it. It's an excellent concept on dragons that I haven't seen anywhere else in any other series or any other ideas. So I would definitely recommend Bazil Broketail. I hope you enjoy it if you do read it. If you have read it, I hope you enjoyed reading it, and that's why you came to see a talk about it. I'm Mr. Pleasant Books. For my next book talk, I will be discussing We Are Legion by Dennis E. Taylor. I'm Mr. Pleasant Books. Thanks for listening.